everyone, in this video we will cover the current affairs. Before we move ahead, let me inform you that these questions are part of our daily 20 MCQ series in GK Today's Academy Android application. So if you are looking for the text version of these questions and their explanations along with the interactive quiz, you may consider joining our daily 20 MCQ series in Academy Android application. So in this app course you get daily 20 MCQs, a fortnightly quiz, a monthly revision document and also category wise revision ebooks which are optimized for reading on your mobile itself. Apart from it, you are also able to access all archives of questions from January 2020 onwards. Please check our Telegram channel. The link is given in the description box. You can subscribe to it if you find it relevant. For hard copy books, you can visit our website gktbooks.com. Okay. So now without wasting any further time, let's get started.
Good morning everyone. Welcome back to GK Today. And today we'll be discussing most important MCQs for 7th and 8th of November 2021. Starting with very first question. Which country is set to start Knock Every Door campaign to boost vaccination? So according to a release issued by the Union Health Ministry of India, Knock Every Door, or you can say Har Ghar Dastak campaign is scheduled to start soon in the districts with low vaccination rates, and the aim is to motivate people to get vaccinated. And as per the Health Ministry, there were more than 10.34 crore people in the country who had missed the second dose of COVID-19 vaccine that they were due to take, while more than 12 crore unutilized doses were available with the states. So correct answer is option number B. Now apart from it, India has recently applied a $2 billion loan to purchase the COVID-19 vaccines from AIIB, that is Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, and ADB, that is Asian Development Bank. So ADB is expected to finance $1.5 billion and AIIB is considering to provide $500 million. So about 667 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines were expected to be procured through the loan. Now apart from it, few days back we have seen that World Health Organization has formed the Scientific Advisory Group for the Origins on Novel Pathogens, in which an Indian epidemiologist, Dr. Raman, will also be there, that will advise the Secretariat on technical and scientific considerations on emerging and re-emerging pathogens. Also we have seen that Union Ministry of Ayush has entered into an agreement with the government of Croatia for research and development in Indian traditional medicine system. And this MOU was signed by All India Institute of Ayurveda on Indian behalf, and Croatia has also proposed to include Indian Ayurveda and Yoga along with its tourism packages. Okay. Question number 2. India's Chief Election Commissioner Sushil Chandra has recently overseen the presidential election of which country? So India's Chief Election Commissioner Mr. Sushil Chandra led a 3-member delegation to Uzbekistan to oversee the country's presidential election, and Indian team has overseen the election as an international observer. So the Uzbekistan's president Mr. Shavkat got over than 80% of the vote in the elections and was re-elected for a second 5-year term. So Mr. Sushil Chandra and Uzbekistan Election Commission led by Mr. Zainuddin held a meeting on electoral cooperation. Now talking about some of the important recent appointments, the chairman of Steel Authority of India Limited is Soma Mandal. Then Pankaj Mittal has been appointed as Chief Justice of Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh High Court. Then Mr. Pankaj Kumar Singh is the new Director General of BSF, and the 5th President of Estonia is Alar Karis. Then first woman chairperson and MD of Engineering India Limited is Vartika Shukla, and former chairperson of SBI Mr. Rajneesh Kumar has recently been appointed as Economic Advisor to the state of Andhra Pradesh. Okay. And now one last appointment. Anita Anand has been appointed as the new Defence Minister of Canada. Question number 3. Which Indian state has topped the Public Affairs Index 2021? So Public Affairs Center PAC, which is a Bangalore-based non-profit think tank, releases the Public Affairs Index every year. And in this year's Public Affairs Index, Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Telangana have taken the top 3 positions among the 18 large states in governance performance. And the index is based on the scores secured by the states in governance performance across the pillars of equity, growth and sustainability. Also, COVID-19 response index has been added to this year's index for the very first time. So here correct answer is option number B. And not only this, Sikkim, Goa and Mizoram are the winners among the small states, while Puducherry, Jammu Kashmir and Chandigarh topped among the union territories. Fine. Now apart from it, Pune International Center, that is PIC, has convened the 6th PDNS, that is Pune Dialogue on National Security 2021. So basically it was a 2-day virtual conference with the theme of National Security Preparedness in the Age of Disasters and Pandemics. So the National Security Advisor, Mr. Ajit Doval, delivered the inaugural address at conference, which will have a keynote address by Dr. Soumya Swaminathan, who is the Chief Scientist of World Health Organization. Now apart from it, the Changing Wealth of Nations report has been recently published by the World Bank, and as per this report, South Asia suffers the most among all regions of the world in terms of loss of human capital due to air pollution. And the report has measured wealth creation and distribution in 146 countries, covering a 20-year period from 1995 to 2018. So human capital was the largest source of worldwide wealth with 64% of total global wealth in 2018. Question number 4. India's first manned ocean mission Samudrayan is undertaken by which institution? So India has launched its first manned ocean mission Samudrayan, joining 6 other nations engaged in exploring deep ocean for research. And while launching the mission, our Union Minister Jitendra Singh said that the Samudrayan project will be a part of Deep Ocean Mission, and it is being undertaken by the NIOT, that is National Institute of Ocean Technology, which was established in 1993, and it is an autonomous society under the Ministry of Earth Sciences. Now apart from it, the Government of India and ADB, that is Asian Development Bank, signed a $251 million loan for integrated urban flood protection and management in the Chennai basin. So basically it aims to strengthen the capacity of Chennai city to floods, and the project will build flood protection infrastructure as well as strengthen the Greater Chennai Corporation and communities for better preparedness. Then in the previous lecture we have seen that 16th meeting of EAS, that is East Asia Summit, was held recently in a virtual format. And talking about EAS, it is an intergovernmental forum comprising of total 18 members, Asian countries first of all, which includes Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand and Vietnam, along with Australia, China, India, Japan, New Zealand, then USA and Republic of Korea. Okay. And this year's diplomatic summit of ASEAN was held recently. ASEAN stands for Association of Southeast Asian Nations, and it was established in the year 1967 and headquarters lies in Indonesia. Okay. Question number 5. What is the name of the deep sea vehicle being designed in India under the Samudrayan initiative? So this is Matsya 6000 and it is the deep sea vehicle being designed under the Samudrayan initiative. And the vehicle will be ready for qualification trials by December 2024 and it is designed to carry 3 people in the titanium alloy personnel sphere of 2.1 meters diameter in closed space. And the vehicle could work at a depth between 1000 and 5500 meters. So this technology would basically help in carrying out deep ocean exploration of non-living resources like polymetallic manganese nodules, gas hydrates, hydrothermal sulfides and cobalt crust. Okay. Now, a few days back we have seen that Assam Fisheries Ministry has recently launched an application which is the India's first e-fish market app named as Fishwale. And the app has been developed by AquaBlue Global Aquaculture Solutions in collaboration with the State Fisheries Department. So now this app will help both buyers and the sellers to place order and sell fishes online. And talking about Assam, recently the Assam cabinet has approved the creation of a directorate and post under the newly established Indigenous Faith and Culture Department. And apart from it, the QCI, that is the Quality Council of India, has established a team of experts for execution of a proposed project ONDC, that is Open Network for Digital Commerce, and several small and medium enterprises have been onboarded as volunteers for the execution of a project as per the Commerce and Industry Ministry. So the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade has initiated this project to democratize electronic commerce by moving it from a platform-centric model to an open network. Fine. Question number 6. India's first indigenously developed long-range bomb has been developed by which organization? So Indian Air Force team and DRDO, that is Defense Research and Development Organization, have successfully flight tested India's first indigenously developed LRB, and it was fired from IAF Sukhoi 30 fighter jet flying at an altitude of 10 kilometers over Balasore, Odisha. And this bomb was designed and developed by DRDO's RCI, that is Research Center Imarat, and it has a range of 100 kilometers and can carry a warhead of 1000 kilograms. Fine. Now in the previous lectures we have seen that Abhyas HEAT, which stands for the High Expendable Aerial Target, was successfully flight tested by DRDO, and the vehicle was tested off from the Indian Test Range Chandipur off the coast of Bay of Bengal in Odisha. So it can be used as an aerial target to evaluate various missile systems. And Abhyas is designed and developed by DRDO's Aeronautical Development Establishment that lies in Bangalore. Now apart from it, ISRO is working on technologies in order to develop reusable GSLV Mk3 launch vehicle so as to utilize money and energy both. And already we have seen that NASA is set to launch its Psyche mission next year. And it will be the first spacecraft to study on asteroid that is rich in metals but not very rich in dust and ice. So this Psyche asteroid basically orbits the Sun in main asteroid belt between the planets Mars and Jupiter. Okay. Question number 7. What is the new name given to the species of human ancestors who lived in Africa during the Middle Pleistocene? So scientists have discovered a species of human ancestors called Homo bodensis who lived around 500,000 years ago in Africa during the Middle Pleistocene, which is known as Chibanian. And the term Bodoensis has been derived from a skull found in Bodo, which lies in Ethiopia. So International Commission on Zoological Nomenclature allows the name changes under strictly defined rules, and that age saw the rise of our own species Homo sapiens as well as our closest relatives Neanderthals. Okay. Now apart from it, US wildlife researchers have discovered that 2 Californian condors, which is a critically endangered bird, have given birth without any male genetic DNA. And the virgin births are formally called parthenogenesis, or you can say asexual reproduction, which are recorded in other bird species, also in lizards, snakes, sharks, etc. And around 500 California condors remain in the US southwest region and Mexico. Fine. Now apart from it, Pablo Escobar's cocaine hippos became the first non-human creatures to legally considered people by US courts. And this has been announced as a measure to save the cocaine hippos from being killed. Actually, there have been proposals in Colombia to kill these hippos since 2009, citing that they are invasive species and they compete with local wildlife for food, and also they pollute local waterways with their faces. Okay. Question number 8. What is the fiscal deficit of the center at the end of first half of financial year 2022? So the center's fiscal deficit hit a 4-year low of 5.26 lakh crore rupees, or you can say 35% of the budget estimates at the end of first half of financial year 2022. So at the same stage, last year the fiscal deficit was 9.1 lakh crore rupees, or 114.8% of budget estimates. So the government managed to collect over 60% of budgeted revenue receipts in the first 6 months of the fiscal, which is the highest ever collection as per the official data. Now apart from it, our food processing industries minister Prashupati Kumar Paras launched a bakery brand, Delhi Bakes, under the One District, One Product initiative, and whole wheat rusk is the first product launched under this brand. So the government is actually promoting one product from one district under the Pradhan Mantri Formalization of Micro Food Processing Industries scheme, and the product has been launched in association with cooperative NAFED. You have to tell me what does NAFED stands for. Please write in the comments. Now in the previous lectures we have seen that RBI has proposed minimum 11.5% capital for the 4 all India financial institutions, and minimum total capital is proposed at 9% along with the main capital buffer at 2.5%. So this proposal has been made in line with the Basel III framework to raise their financial strength in periods of stress. And the new capital norms would be applicable to Exim Bank, NABARD, National Housing Bank, SIDBI from next fiscal year. Okay. Question number 9. Which country has issued its first passport with an X-gender designation? So the USA has issued its first passport with an X-gender designation, and the country would also offer the option to non-binary, intersex and gender non-conforming people early next year. So this is regarded as a milestone in the recognition of the rights of people who don't identify as male or female. And the department now also allows the applicants to self-select their gender as male or female, not requiring them to provide medical certification. Okay? Means medical certificate is not required for your gender definition. Now apart from it, CAATSA, that is Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanctions Act, is a 2017 law which intends punish countries that did business with some countries including Russia. And 3 Republican US senators filed legislation to exempt India from the sanctions for purchasing a Russian S-400 missile defense system. So this would create a 10-year exemption from member countries of the Quad, that is Australia, Japan and India, from sanctions imposed by CAATSA. Okay. Now already we have seen that 17th edition of exercise Yuddha Abhyas, which is a joint military exercise between India and USA, was held last month, And also Indian Navy has participated in the second phase of multilateral maritime exercise Malabar along with Japan, Australia and USA. Then Zaid Talwar was the exercise that was held recently between which two countries, India and UAE, and Al-Muhaid Al-Hindi is an exercise between India and Saudi Arabia. Now you have to tell me Varun and Garun are the exercises between which two countries. Please write your answers in the comment section. Now coming to last question, which institution has established a team of experts to execute proposed open network for digital commerce project? I think I've told you this somewhere between in this lecture itself. Let's do again. The Quality Council of India has actually established a team of experts for execution of a proposed project ONDC, and several small and medium enterprises would be treated as volunteers for execution of a project as per the Commerce and Industry Ministry. Now apart from it, Sweden is set to launch a trade promotion event named as Time for India to boost bilateral trade with India, and the Swedish ambassador in India, Claes Molin, announced that Sweden does not require vaccination from international travelers including those from India. And also Swedish diplomatic and economic delegation to Sweden along with the Indian embassy in Stockholm will launch a promotional campaign for Indian business. Then the National E-Governance Division of Ministry of Electronics and IT is organizing Artificial Intelligence Pe Charcha, that is AI dialogue, on the theme Artificial Intelligence for Data-Driven Governance. And the session basically aims to cover the importance of data-driven and artificial intelligence enabled governance along with the global best practices. Actually, Artificial Intelligence Pe Charcha, it is a series of panel discussions involving various global and domestic leaders from government and industry and researchers sharing their experiences. Okay, now let's start with today's quiz. Here on the slide you can see 5 questions which have been taken from the past 2-3 days current affairs. Pause the video and try to solve each of these questions, and at the end of the lecture do not forget to share your scores in the comment section. So please be honest and do not cheat with yourself. So that's it for today. I hope you have liked the session. These were the important news and events from today, and we will meet again tomorrow with some more important current affairs. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching, and please do not forget to subscribe to GK Today. With this, me Nuzhat Sana signing off.